9. This is the art of thinking out loud, live, common sense analytics. Um, I was just checking a story about a 6-year-old, a first grader, intentionally shooting their teacher. And we're going to listen to a little bit of this and then we're going to kind of react to it. All right.
This is outside of Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Virginia, where a 6-year-old student shot and wounded a Virginia teacher during an altercation inside a first grade classroom. That's according to police and school officials there in the city of Newport News. No students were injured in the shooting. The teacher, a woman in her 30s, suffered life-threatening injuries. Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew told reporters that her condition had improved somewhat by late afternoon. Police said the child had a handgun in the classroom and that they took that student into custody. Parents and students were reunited at a gymnasium door, according to Newport News Public Schools. There you see law enforcement on the scene. Earlier this afternoon, you saw so many police, onlookers, bystanders, parents, family members there beyond that yellow police tape, waiting to be reunited with their loved ones and their children. Newport News is a city of about 185,000 people in southeastern Virginia, known for its shipyard, which builds the nation's aircraft carriers and other U.S. Navy vessels. Rich Neck Elementary has about 550 students. It's a K through 5 institution. That's according to the Virginia Department of Education's website. School officials have already said there will be no classes on Monday after the weekend. So this is overhead earlier this afternoon, where police said and school officials said a 6-year-old in a first grade classroom shot and gravely injured his teacher, a female in her 30s. The 6-year-old was taken into custody. Right now, let's listen in to some of these law enforcement officials, city officials, and school officials. Police held a press conference earlier tonight. Let's watch.
I don't know. Something ain't sounding right.
Sort of keep my comments brief. Newport News is it's a community. We are going to succeed or we're going to fail together. Today, I could not be prouder of our public servants who were here very, very quickly. The outer cordon, inner cordon were established. Can I be more proud of the police force, the sheriff, the entire fire department, my colleagues that stand behind us, the superintendent, the school board, our delegates that are here. Newport News is a strong community, and we are always going to be together. It hurts my heart. After this, I'm going to go to the hospital and talk to the family and spend the night there. But it's a dark day for Newport News. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to come back stronger.
I don't know. Something ain't right.
At this time.
Something ain't right.
Yes. So right
Something
now,
ain't right.
It's still raw right now. But I will tell you is there's going to be a full after action, not only from internally of the city council, the school board, and others, but we are going to ensure that we have the right steps and policies so this doesn't happen.
Something about this feels.
What I really say is today our students got a lesson in gun violence and what guns can do to disrupt not only an educational environment, but also a family, a community.
Hold on. I'm listening to the mayor making it about gun violence now, not about a 6-year-old shooting their teacher intentionally. This is wild. This is wild.
I reiterate what the mayor said, that Newport News is a very proud community. We pride ourselves in working diligently to provide a safe learning environment for all students.
This is
efforts
crazy.
we saw today by our faculty were admirable. And the response that it took to get our kids, make sure our kids were safe, make sure our parents were reunified with the students in as timely as we can make it. We don't plan for these incidents, but we do plan to have plans to make sure our schools are safe. We need the community support, continued support, to make sure that guns are not available to youth. And I'm sounding like a broken record today because I continue to reiterate that we need to keep the guns out of the hands of our young people. This is evidence today that these are the things that happen when we have access to weapons. I cannot control access to weapons.
Okay.
My teachers cannot control access to weapons.
Okay, this is what I'm about to do. I'm going to stop that right there. And I'm going to say this. I just heard a report about a 6-year-old child, a child, 6 years old, who they're saying intentionally brought a weapon to school and hurt their teacher. I got a lot of questions, and I feel like what I'm hearing is I'm hearing them addressing other issues. It's more like propaganda talk. I'm not getting anything about how this child acquired this weapon, you know, how this child got the weapon to school, you know, what the altercation situation was. You know, there are a lot of questions we can ask, and I feel like none of these are being addressed. This sounds, I hate to say it sounds scripted, but it's sounding scripted. Like, come on, man, you telling me that a 6-year-old first grade child brought a gun to school, popped the teacher intentionally. This is what the media is saying, intentionally. If this is done with intent, and then they said the child was arrested, okay. When I was talking in a previous live stream, and I was saying everything that we're seeing now when it comes to our children becomes a situation of where you'll see the bar dropped lower and lower, like every season, with what they allow to be done. And when I say allowed to be done, it's like, come on, man. You're going to give me a story about a 6-year-old shooting their teacher, and you tell me that there was an altercation. Even in telling me that there was an altercation, you're not giving me enough that makes sense. And then you tell me that you have this child in custody. It just sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. It sounds like I need to hear more about it. But I don't want to make it like I'm just doubting this situation. No, what I'm saying is I just want it to make sense. And if indeed this did happen the way they said it happened, what type of commentary is this on our children? And is this an intentional bad commentary on our children? See, I think about all of this. I don't know, because yeah, we have our share of so-called school shootings and other things that go on. But it's like, I'm starting to see where the situation is getting shifted. Everything is about younger children now, regardless of what it is. Now it's like the rituals are shifting to like younger children. We're making younger children do more older acts. Bring a gun to school and shoot a teacher, whether it happened or not, like they said it. I don't know. I hear these things and I don't jump like the rest of the public and just be like, oh man, that's so sad, so and so. First thing I think is this could be a crock of bullshit. It could be a cover story for something else. But that's just the way I think, because I know mainstream media lies. I know a lot of these stories are scripted, and a lot of things come about when you have legislature on the table, you know, for certain laws, especially gun laws and things like that. So I don't let these type of stories get me worked up, because I have to find out if they're even real. You know, that's like the situation with the football situation here, you know, with Damar Hamlin. I'm going to tell y'all, honestly, I'm not sold. think it's some nonsense in the game. I think it's some nonsense in the game, one way or the other. So don't judge me either way, but it don't matter. And I'm gonna tell you the way that I feel. I feel like either the medical industrial complex is covering up for something that they did wrong, or we're watching a ritual being played out right before us, and this young man was a willing participant. It could be either way. The shit could be scripted. I'm just saying, I don't take anything off the table. You know, why everybody is all sad and everything like that. I'm just thinking it's just too many correlations with a lot of other stuff. You know, and I ain't even about to go all deep into that right now. I just wanted to set the whole table and ask the question, is any of this shit real? Like, are these real events, or is this just more energy harvesting? Because that's what I seem to be seeing. I don't see proof of actual real events. And it's like I said, I didn't want to make this sound like this, but I'm just saying, we just heard a report of a 6-year-old child shooting their teacher intentionally. A 6-year-old child wounds their teacher intentionally with a weapon, and we're not told anything about how this child acquired this weapon, what the circumstances were surrounding this situation. They just say an altercation. What type of altercation does a 6-year-old have with a 30-plus-year-old adult that a handgun can become involved in it? And how the hell does a 6-year-old get a damn handgun to school? And how did they get access to it? It's a lot of questions that can go. And why the media isn't talking about any of these questions that should be regular common sense asked questions. See, but this is what then leads me when I tell you that I think a lot of these things are manufactured. Like I said, with the football situation, that DeMar situation, that shit could be manufactured. It could be a ritual, a willing ritual, or it could be where the medical association is trying to cover up something. And they'll snatch this down. I don't care. I'm shadow banned anyway, but the truth will get out. You know, either it's scripted or it's something they did to him. You know, either way. But you know, I ain't want to take a lot of y'all time. It's just that I heard this whole thing with the 6-year-old first grader that shot their teacher, and they ain't giving us no real background on it. I mean, I realize with it being a child, you can't say too much. But if you could tell me this was an intentional act, and then this child was apprehended, quote unquote. This is what they said. Taken into custody. What the hell sparked it? This is a baby for real, 6 years old. Come on, man. You know, hey, I'm just not sold on it right now. I'm not. And like I said, if I wanted to take it somewhere else, to say that a 6-year-old is capable of that, what type of commentary does that have on our society where we're producing monstrous 6-year-olds that take weapons to school, deadly weapons to school, and try to critically injure a teacher? Where have the influences on society taken us? You know, how did we get here? What has popular media done? What has the educational system not done? What is mainstream media promoting to you? How is your perception being purposefully manipulated? Like I said, I'm just not sold. I'm not. all of this stuff, the football incident, the 6-year-old shooting, it could all be something way bigger than what we know. And when I say that, meaning scripted for a whole nother purpose. I just take nothing off the table. I don't. And it's not like that's the first place I go, but when my common sense just kick in like that, the spidey sense just get the tingling. It's like, man, listen, I'm not gonna ignore that. But this your man, Honorable October 9. It's the Art of Thinking Out Loud, Common Sense Analytics. I just had to chime in on the story with the 6-year-old supposedly intentionally shooting their teacher, whom I think is like 33 years old. If so, we know how that go with the 33s and the 32 and all the different numbers, 42, 46. But yeah, I was just kind of tripping off this story. But I get it, y'all, later. Thanks for your time.